Miami Heat Nation. Hello guys, my name is Trent, and over here we are going to be covering the Miami Heat off season and heading into next year. So guys, if you support the Miami Heat or your favorite team is the Miami Heat, make sure you drop that sub and turn on post notifications. Now in today's video, we are going to be talking about where do you rank the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference after the Donovan Mitchell trade to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we're going to talk about all the teams in the Eastern Conference, and then at the end, I'm going to be doing my ranking of where I believe the Heat are going to be. Now, to start it off, you got the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics made it to the NBA Finals last season. They played the Golden State Warriors and unfortunately lost in 6. Now, I still feel like they're the favorites in the Eastern Conference, obviously, and they improved their team by adding players like Malcolm Brogdon. Now, they did add Gallinari, which was going to be a nice bench piece, but unfortunately, he has a torn ACL, and don't be surprised if the Celtics sign another free agent, maybe Carmelo Anthony. Now, Celtics pretty much remain and kept their whole team that they went to the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum probably going to have another big year. Jaylen Brown is going to have another huge leap. You finally got a legit point guard with you in Brogdon. You still got Marcus Smart. Robin Williams is probably going to be 100% healthy. You got Al Horford. I have this team still 1 or 2 in the Eastern Conference. Number 2, got the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, it's funny because I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics are the same tier. I feel like they're very talented. I feel like they're right there, and either or team could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Last year, the Celtics made it because they were the most healthiest. The Milwaukee Bucks didn't make it because they lost Chris Middleton. Say if this upcoming season, Chris Middleton is fully healthy, and the Celtics somehow are missing a Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, the Milwaukee Bucks will make it. So I feel like they're very fair. And also the Milwaukee Bucks did continue to add depth on their team. I believe they added Joe Ingles. I like what they have on that roster. Giannis obviously is going to be coming back for revenge. So you could put these two teams, number 1, number 2 in the Eastern Conference, can go either or. Now you got the teams like the 76ers, the Toronto Raptors, and the Chicago Bulls. 76ers are a very interesting team. We all know they need to win a championship ASAP. James Harden has officially taken a pay cut. He did that so he can add his brother and PJ Tucker. They added players like Daniel House, and they added players like Dejounte Melton coming off their bench. And I'm pretty sure they continue to improve their rosters. I'm hearing reports they're interested in Jordan Clarkson. Now, this team on paper looks very talented, but we understand that they deal with injuries, and the main injury is Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid is not healthy, this team is not going nowhere. If he is healthy, this team can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's how talented they are. Talented they are because they got players like Tyrese Maxey. James Harden looks like he's in shape. He lost weight. If he can just go back to 50-70% of James Harden from the Houston Rockets, this team is going to be insane. Don't forget about Tobias Harris. Still a bucket. You got Joel and PJ Tucker. So watch out for the 76ers. All I'm going to say is I'm not going to really give them a ranking because it all depends on James Harden being the 75% out of 100 on the Houston Rockets. And when I say 75% out of 100, I'm saying like just be the 75. You don't got to be the old James Harden doing step backs from 40 feet. Just be almost him. And then Joel stays healthy. This team is another talented team in the Eastern Conference. And this is not looking good for the Miami Heat. Then you got the Toronto Raptors. Personally, I do think we are better than them, but they're still young and up and coming, and they got a great head coach. So they're always going to be competitive, and they're always going to be a team that's going to fight till the end. Then you got the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls this offseason made a couple moves. They added players like Dragic and Andre Drummond, but they don't have their starting point guard in Lonzo Ball. Reports came out that he's going to be missing training camp and the start of the season. So that's definitely a big concern because they definitely need him. He runs the offense. He can shoot threes and do all the dirty stuff, plays good defense. So without missing him is going to be tough. And now they're relying on Goran Dragic to be their starting point guard. So personally, I think the Miami Heat are better than the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls so far. Now you got the Brooklyn Nets. Now the Brooklyn Nets are a team that's up and down because on paper, this team is very talented. They went absolutely insane in the offseason by adding players that could play perfect with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. When you have players like TJ Warren in the bubble is averaging 50-plus points a game. You had another player in Royce O'Neal, another solid wing. You brought back Patty Mills. You still got Claxton. This team is deep, and with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant being back with Ben Simmons, this team is going to be interesting to see. It all really depends on the coaching because Steve Nash is a horrible coach. I'd rather have Spo over him easily 100%, and Kyrie Irving being on the court. Because if he's not on the court, then this roster does not matter at all. So we're just going to keep them in the air. right now, but at the moment, I got the Miami Heat because they have chemistry. They've been playing with each other for a while, and I just respect our core better than the Brooklyn Nets. But if the Nets can turn it around and have chemistry and the coaching is solid, they're probably a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference and probably could take out the Bucks and the Boston Celtics. And then you got the teams like Atlanta, Cleveland, and then obviously Miami Heat. Atlanta, they made a go all-in move by trading for Murray. Murray, very talented. I feel like he doesn't get enough respect, but he's a great defender, and they did that because they don't want to, Trae Young is a terrible defender, and they know that. So they're trying to hide the fact they get a defensive-minded point guard that can give you 20 points a night, run an offense, and do everything. He's talented as hell. So that's another team. They still got John Collins, which he's going to be back fully healthy. You still got Bogdan, and you still got Clint Capella. That team is very talented. Obviously, the Miami Heat, I have them over them, but you can't just walk over them and be like, oh, we're going to beat them easily. Even though we did last season, the postseason, we put Trae Young in a box. Do you think Trae Young's going to do that this season? And I'm pretty sure he's going to play a lot of off-the-ball. And then obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that traded for Donovan Mitchell. This team is going to be very interesting. You got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen as your starting 5. That has to be one of the best starting 5s in the NBA. If they can play together, they might be one of the top 4, top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. And this is a concern to the Miami Heat because I just named about Boston, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Toronto Raptors, Chicago Bulls, the Nets, Atlanta, Cleveland. That's about like 7, 8 teams. We don't want to go into play-in at all. We want to be a top 5, top 6 seed. So Eastern Conference definitely has improved. The only team that really hasn't made moves in this list is Miami. They brought back players. But like I said, I don't want to make it seem like I'm downing on the Heat because we Heat Nation over here. We the Heat culture. We trust this team. But just with other moves in Eastern Conference, it's looking very, very tough. But we got to really rely on the improvements of Bam and Tyler Hero and Max Strus and Victor Oladipo. If they can do all that, then I'll go against any team in the Eastern Conference. So my final ranking for the Miami Heat, I think we're going to be a 4-5, 5-6. And that all depends on if the Cleveland Cavaliers can play together, if the Brooklyn Nets can play together. If not, we might be 7-8. And that might be a little harsh, but you got to be honest with us. Like, these teams are very talented. So let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Right now, I'm going to go 5-6. I think that's more reasonable. And if we all start turning up, then maybe we can go 4-5. But I don't see us being a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. I love you guys so much, and I'm out. Peace.